Hello, welcome to another edition of An English Guy Watching Wrestling. I'm the English Guy, I'm Nick. Thank you so much for clicking on another video, do appreciate it. And this one we're going to be covering a very bumper-filled edition of AEW Dark, 18 matches to get through. I think perhaps the most ever. With that being said, shall I go into it? The opening matchup was between Matt Hardy and Jar C, making his AEW debut. And Matt Hardy, I've said it before, one of the most reliable, if not one of the most reliable, if not the most reliable veteran in all of AEW, and all some others, to be honest, but it's Matt Hardy. There's not much he hasn't seen and done, and he showed what he could do in this matchup, and he won the match in fairly quick succession, just under 4 minutes, but Jarcy did have an impressive debut. He did show some promise, and he did get some decent offense in this matchup, but this matchup belonged to Matt Hardy through and through, and he did win with the Leech. His unique butterfly submission move, so it's kind of cool. Actually, kind of cool submission move. I do like it. But basically, he showed what he's all about in this matchup, and he did show some very good stuff in this matchup. And it was Matt Hardy's match to win, and he did win it. So there you go. Thumbs up for that, and thumbs up to the opener. And this matchup was Brian Cage versus Fox Vina, making his AEW debut. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Brian Cage is arguably one of the, if not the strongest man in all of AEW, apart from Will Hobbs. And he showed what he could do in this matchup. And Brian Cage is a fantastic wrestler all around because of just his agility, his ability to do whatever he can do, and obviously the power to back up. And he did win with the drill claw and a very impressive looking drill claw in this matchup, just under 2 minutes. And Brian Cage had a good showing here. Fox did show some decent promise in his matchup, but this was Brian Cage's forte in these kind of matches. So he did win the matchup in convincing fashion. Tongue tie myself up again. But he did win this matchup, so there you go. Thumbs up. The phone seems to have done something bizarre there. Aha, there we go. Next matchup was the Acclaim versus Derek Pisaturo and Roman Rosell. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I love the Acclaimed, I really do. And they are arguably one of the most popular tag teams in all of AEW because of just how they've turned the crowd around and to be in their favour. They just seem to work, that's the only way to say it. And it worked very well in this matchup. And this was actually a decent showing from the Acclaimed of the continuity between the two of them in this matchup was showing in spades more than usual. And that's not a surprise though, because of just how good of a tag team they are, and the tag team that didn't exist until AEW came along. They were put together as a tag team, and it's worked since then. And I enjoyed the work rate from both these teams, but this was definitely the Acclaimed night. They showed a lot of great stuff in this matchup, and a good showing for them overall, to be fair. But this the Acclaimed, there's nothing new there, so definitely thumbs up to that. So the Acclaimed win. And this matchup was Diamante versus Harlow O'Hara. My apologies, Harlow O'Hara. And Diamante is one of my favourite female competitors in AEW, and she's a veteran by this point. It's no other way to say it. And very rarely does Diamante face something bigger than her in AEW, but she did here. O'Hara was a larger competitor than her, and not very often to see that in a match with Diamante. But Diamante showed why she is a tenured veteran, very, very good at what she does. And she did win with a submission move in 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And this was a very good showing for Diamante, showing that she can face anyone if it's someone that's similar size, smaller, or larger in terms of appearance and strength. Diamante did it in space here, so I can't fault that. And she did win with a submission move, and not the code that she usually uses, but no, she won with a submission move. And that was it. And it was a very impressive submission. I've never seen it before. I don't think the name of it was mentioned in the broadcast either. So, but it was a good showing for Diamante. And yeah, I think she's starting to get a bit more of a potential push. And I'm glad because I do like her. So there you go, thumbs up. And this matchup was Ryan Mantell versus Ethan Page. And what else can I say? I love Ethan Page. Plus Scorpio Sky, obviously in the middle of the year, I think they're fantastic. And since forming as a tag team, they've been arguably one of the most entertaining duos and people in all of AEW. It's great. And Ethan Page has done a good job since being in AEW, and he showed very good stuff here. And he hit the ego's edge. And Ryan Mantel is not the smallest guy, but not the biggest guy either. So to him, Ethan Page is a very strong individual. So for him to win with the ego's edge in just under 2 minutes and a half was fun. But Ethan Page show is all about, it's great to see him just go from strength to strength to strength each week. So thumbs up for that for sure. The next matchup was Sahara 7 making an AEW debut versus Big Swole. And Sahara hailed from Cairo, Egypt. And as far as I know, the only Egyptian female wrestler, if not wrestler, in AEW. So nothing wrong with that at all. But of course, Big Swole, arguably the soul of the women's division. I've said it before and I'll say it again. She's amazing. She's her story, her abilities, and what she can do in the ring just speaks volumes in more ways than one. And she did get the win with the Clearwater Cloverleaf, and all just cause. Sahara, slightly stronger in stature than Swole, and Swole's not the smallest individual either. She's fairly, she's one of the tallest. She's definitely not the tallest. I think that's the kind of key. But she did great in this matchup, and to be honest, Sahara had some good offense in this match too, and did show some good stuff. But this was definitely Swole's match to win. And she did with the Clearwater Cloverleaf, which is a Texas Cloverleaf with a neck bridge. Pretty painful one. You're not going to get out of that. And Sahara did not. So this match was one big swole. And it was a fun, short matchup. So can't fault that. And this matchup was Dante Martin versus Ricky Shane Page making his AEW debut. And when I saw this one, I thought, first of all, I'm so glad that Ricky Shane Page is getting an opportunity to wrestle in places like AEW because I've been watching him for a long time, and if there's anybody that I really just can't help but give utmost respect for, and just been a very great guy, it is Ricky Shane Page, a guy who's wrestled in the UK many times. I think he's awesome. He's got such a great rapport of English fans because everyone really likes him, and rapport of independent wrestling fans because, not because of his death matches, just because of his matches full stop. For a guy's size, he's really good. And him and Dante Martin, who is arguably arguably the quickest wrestler in all of AEW. These two clashed superbly, and this was a very good match. I did like this. Ricky Shane Page, despite his size, he can fly really well. He's got some fantastic agility for a guy his size too, and he showed it in this matchup. He had a very good showing, and I think Ricky Shane Page being the heel here was the right call. But not to say that Dante Martin, who has arguably been on a huge role in AEW in recent times because obviously he's had to step into the singles route because of the injury to his brother. But he's been firing all cylinders, had some fantastic matches, and this was another one to add to the pile. This was very good, and I thought these two clashed superbly. They didn't really slow anything down. They did everything at fast pace. Ricky Shane Page can do that, and he did it here. And this was, two guys working together like this, and it was a treat. It really did, and I really did like this matchup. And hopefully, it's not the last time we see RSP in AEW. If he's back, I definitely wouldn't complain. But no, this was a good matchup, and very enjoyable, and honestly, one of the matches of the night because of the way these two meshed together, and it did work very well. So definitely thumbs up to both men for this one. It was good stuff. And this matchup was Evil Uno and Stu Grayson versus Papadon and Sean Maluta, who have never tagged together before in AEW. Now, I've said it before and I'll say again, AEW, perhaps the most beloved faction in all of AEW, apart from perhaps Inner Circle. No matter what combination you're going to get great stuff. No argument, and it's exactly the same situation when it comes to, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, the most veneered tag team for sure in all of the Dark Order because they've been tagging together for many years. And as continuity goes, I think they're just brilliant. And they definitely showed in this matchup the knowing where each other at all times is works wonders for the Dark Order. And even though their opponents Maluta and Papadon did get some decent offense in, this was a good show from the Dark Order. I always called them Super Smash Brothers. Well, no, they're not called that anymore. But no, the Dark Order showed very good continuity as they always do. And a very crazy finisher, basically a running punt after a pile driver. Brutal finish from the Dark Order. I've never seen them do that before. And it wasn't the fatalities they'd done before. No, this was something else. And it worked. He got them to the win. And they showed great continuity, and their opponents did get some decent offense in, but this was Dark Order's night. This was a very well put together match by these guys. So can't fault that for sure. So thumbs up. And his matchup was Marcus Cross versus Ryan Nemeth. And this was Ryan Nemeth's first singles match, I believe, in AEW since he's lost to Willie Utah. Actually, last week on AEW program, I think it was on Dark. Yes, it was on Dark. Willie Utah, Ryan Nemeth is, if you know by now who he is Dolph Ziggler's younger brother. And he's got the charisma, he's got the stylist of his brother, but he's also got his own way of doing things too. And he seems to work in AEW. And he worked against Marcus Cross. As flamboyant and as cocky as Ryan Nemeth is, he's very talented. And he's definitely got the mannerisms of a guy who's got a great future. And he started to show more and more of that in recent times. And he did win with the neck breaker at just under 4 minutes. But Marcus Cross did some decent offense in here, but the wingmen were in Nemeth's corner and did try to mess with Marcus Cross's hairstyle, which is crazy, really. I don't know whether we say it. Blonde hair pointed up, basically like a Pokemon character. I think it's Goku. I'm not sure if it's Goku, the blonde one. I'm not Pokemon. Dragon Ball Z. I'm not familiar with Dragon Ball Z, so there you go. But no, basically it was a fun matchup which Nemeth won. I think he needed that win after what happened with him and Willie Utah. So there we go. So thumbs up for sure. And his matchup was Penelope Ford versus Robin Renegade. And since returning, I think she was injured. Penelope Ford has been doing what she's always done. It's been great to watch in the ring in the AEW Women's Division. And arguably perhaps the most athletic of the female competitors. Obviously, athletic background she has. Obviously, there's a few others that could stake claim to that too, to be fair. But Penelope Ford did very, very well here, and she did win in convincing fashion. Because Robin Renegade did get two small offensive parts in, but this night belongs to Penelope Ford in all fairness, and she did win the matchup in fairly convincing fashion. So there you go. And his matchup was Austin Green making his AEW debut versus Frankie Kazarian. And I'm going to say, I wish this matchup was longer. And I'm not usually negative on these things, because I think these two, in the just under 3 minutes and 20 seconds they had, really got a great matchup. And because of the size of Austin Green, he's not a small guy, he's a really big guy. He moved with speed. And against a guy like Frankie Kazarian, Frankie Kazarian, one of the most tenured veterans and one of the best all-rounders in AEW, bar none. He's fantastic. This was a great showing from these two, and I thought they clashed so well. They could have done a lot more if they were given the opportunity, but the smarts of Frankie Kazarian did get the win with the crossface chicken wing at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Part of me wish they could have had longer, because I think these two could have produced something even more, but the time they had, they produced some really good stuff in, and I wouldn't mind seeing Austin Green back, because for a guy's size, he can move and he can do some good stuff, and he did it, and he used the power as well. So good to see that combination, and hopefully Austin Green will return. We'll find what happens, but no, obviously, but this night did belong to Frankie Kazarian, and he was great, as Frankie Kazarian always is. So there you go, thumbs up. So there we go. And this matchup was Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson versus Mark Davidson and Aaron Fryer. And of course, if you know the name, Brock Anderson, he is the son of legendary enforcer, the enforcer Arn Anderson, of course. And the resemblance between him and his father is uncanny, but of course, because of good reasons. And I'm not too sure if Brock Anderson is a student at the Nightmare Factory. Lee Johnson is, I will say that. And of course, they were representing the Nightmare family. And they represented very well, because I think if they tag again, they've got potential there, because these two showed some really good continuity. And despite the fact Brock Anderson's only had, I think, 2-3 matches his whole career to this date, so it's quite impressive. I'm definitely going to say that. And they did mesh very well together, these two. And I think there's real potential. And they did win the matchup in convincing fashion. And of course, with the Anderson Spinebuster to win the matchup. Classic Anderson moveset, shall we say. But I enjoyed the way they did this matchup, and a good tag match overall, to be fair. And I'm going to give credit to Davison and Fire. They did some really good continuity against these two, and it belonged. It was a good short tag match, but a good tag team match, if that makes any sense. So it was just under 4 minutes and a half. It was a very enjoyable 4 minutes and a half. I think both teams did a good job here, so thumbs up for sure. And this matchup was Maddie Winkowski versus Julia Hart. Now, as far as I know, Julia Hart is the youngest competitor in the women's division. I think she's only 19 years old, if memory serves correctly. Um, but she's been doing some really good stuff, and it was Maddie Winkowski's first match back after injury, and obviously she's had some chances in AEW. She's won some matches in AEW, so nothing wrong with that at all. But against Julia Hart, who's been very, very good since she's been given the opportunity to wrestle more, obviously accompanied by the Varsity Blondes, and all three of them just are a great team. And Julia Hart won the matchup. Maddie did get some decent offense in, and I'm glad she did because I do like Maddie Winkowski. Yeah, it's good to see her back from injury and good to see her back in the ring. And Julia Hart did win, but Maddie did some very good stuff in this match too. It was not a matchup I expected to go as short as it did. I wish it had gone longer because I think they could have done more, as I said before. But I did enjoy what these two did. The chemistry was good between these two. I did think they did do stuff very well here. But this was Julia Hart's night. But Maddie looked great in her return. She hasn't missed a beat, I'm glad to say. And so, good to see her back, and it was good to see this matchup. So, thumbs up. And this matchup was Jade Tucker versus The Blade, and The Blade pretty much dominated this match. It's the way to say it. And he won with the Doctor Bomb at just under 1 minute and 50 seconds. And he was in beast mode, The Blade. He was basically saying to his opponent, hit me as hard as you can. He went into beast mode and won the matchup in convincing fashion. So good to see The Blade get his opportunities. So, and of course, when his partner, tag team partner, is the Butcher, is back, I'm sure they're going to be continuing the tear they've always been on. So there we go. Apologies. And this matchup was Jeresa and Dion Roosman making an AEW tag team debut against Private Party. And Private Party, I can never really say anything but arguably one of the most athletic tag team in AEW, which is saying something because there's a lot of those. Since they joined the Matt Hardy office, they've been very good as heels. I think they work as heels too. That's the thing. Even though they were one point the most cheered tag teams in all of AEW. Now it's the opposite. They're one of the most booed because of their association with the Matt Hardy office, and it's been working. I think they're good as heels. They fit so well with Matt Hardy because Private Party's biggest influence in wrestling is the Hardy Boys. So when you've got one half of the Hardy Boys kind of guiding you, you are going to hit tag team gold. No pun intended, even though they may do one day. But that aside, sidetrack there. They did have a good showing here, and this was a decent show from Private Party, to be honest. And they've always been great to watch, and they did get the win at just under 3 minutes and a half. But their opponents did get some decent half offense in, but this is Private Party's night. So I was trying to think of the best word. It took me a while, so I apologise. But they did win the matchup in very convincing fashion, to be honest. So there we go. And what came next? What might be the shortest matchup in AEW history? Powerhouse Hobbs versus Travis Titan. Now, before the matchup began, Powerhouse Hobbs was getting towards the ringside, and his opponent Travis Titan was on the outside. And Powerhouse Hobbs attacked him and went crazy on him because obviously his loss to Hangman Page was kind of frustrating Powerhouse Hobbs, and with justifiable reason. But he took it out on poor Travis Titan, who never got a chance to get out of the block. So he basically annihilated him on the outside, got him in. And I'm not sure if it's an AEW record, it's the AEW Dark record for sure. Basically, Groggy could possibly get after getting brutalised on the outside. Titan turned right around to the Powerhouse Hobbs Spinebuster 1, 2, 3. So there you go. That's the other way to say it, really. So We'll move on to the next one. Which brought us to the Gun Club versus Caesar Bononi and JD Drake. And this was one of my matches of the night, to be fair. And Caesar Bononi and JD Drake made the AEW tag team debut, if you can believe that. Yeah, obviously part of the women, but they've never tagged before, but until this matchup. And it was a very good matchup. I enjoyed this one a great deal. The Gun Club, reliable as he could possibly get, Father and Son, and there's, Billy Gunn. I think I think he's actually the most experienced tag team wrestler in all of AEW. His history speaks for itself, and with tagging with his son, it's just going to be great stuff too. And it was, and this was actually a very good tag match between these two. I thought the Benoni and JD Drake tagging together was great, and the bullying of the less experienced Colton Gunn was the right way to do things. And you're not going to bully Billy Gunn because Billy Gunn has seen and done it all pretty much in tag team wrestling. But no, I enjoyed this one. The way they worked it was superb. The bullying of the women was very well done, and obviously the tag team offense between the Gun Club, for obvious reasons, is going to be great. But Odie and Drake worked very well as a tag team. I think there's real potential to keep going there, and of course, part of the women is entirely possible. But I did enjoy this one, and even though the Gun Club did win with the Colt 45, Benoni and Drake didn't lose anything. I think they were very good as a tag team, and this was enjoyable stuff. So, thumbs up to all four men for producing a really good tag match. So, there you go. Which brought us to the main event, and honestly, my match of the night: Wheeler Yuta versus Angelico. And this match came about after Angelico won his match last week, was going towards the backup, and then Wheeler Yuta passed him on the ramp, and it was a bit of a stare down. So, obviously, which led to a bit of competition, which led to this matchup. And I saw this and I thought, you're going to get a wrestling clinic. And you did, for sure, in this one. Wheeler Yuta is a guy who has been getting a bit more of an opportunity in AEW, and I'm glad because those who know him, like I've seen him in the past, know he's a genuine wrestler. He wrestles in many different places and different training places, so training facilities. He's a guy who wants to try and do everything he possibly can, and he can do it. And he's very, very well versed in all types of wrestling. And when he faces someone like Angelico, who is arguably the best submission wrestler in AEW, unorthodox with the Navarro style, you are going to get a very good back and forth technical match. You got that. High flying, you got that. Great counter wrestling, you got that. There was not much these two didn't really do in this matchup. Hard hitting offense, they did that too. But these two, as a professional wrestling match, put on an absolutely superb matchup and definitely main event worthy. This was a great show from both men, and even though the Navarro Death Roll did win the matchup for Angelico, Wheeler Yuta put on his best performance to date in AEW, and against someone like Angelico, that's not going to be a problem because of how good Angelico is. I really couldn't fault what Wheeler Yuta did here, though he did some really good stuff and was very impressive and did some superb wrestling in his matchup. But so did Angelico. He had a great show, and to show his skill set against someone like Wheeler Yuta was the right thing to do because Wheeler Yuta is as skilled as a wrestler as Angelico, just different styles. And it worked very, very, very well. And this was a superb main event, to be honest. I thought this was main event worthy, like I said, but both men just show what professional wrestling can be in this kind of environment, and it works very, very well. So, definite thumbs up to Yuta and to Angelico for this really good main event. And on that note, I will end the review here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see everybody next time. Until next time, take care.